to the Peer Meet the Students podcast, where every month we showcase a student or researcher from the Peer Pacific Earthquake Engineering Research Center community. My name's Crystal. I'm here with Brian. We're both from the Peer Student Committee, and today we're joined by Dr. Angshuman Deb.
Angshuman recently received his Ph.D. in structural engineering from UC San Diego. His research focused on the analytical formulation and computational implementation of a comprehensive risk-targeted performance-based seismic assessment and design framework for bridge structures. He is currently working as a research engineer with AIR Worldwide, focusing on catastrophe risk modeling, the vulnerability of the built environment to natural atmospheric perils, and quantifying extreme events risk in terms of insurance-related metrics.
Welcome, Angshuman. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We'd like to start out with a few short, fun questions. The first question is, if a movie was made of your life, what genre would it be?
I guess it would be like a documentary or something like that, maybe on ants. I like ants. It's they're very hardworking animal. They don't really come with a lot of talents, but only rely on hard work. So yeah, I really connect with them.
I love that.
Yeah.
So what has been your favorite moment in grad school?
When I was TAing for a class, the students, they arranged like a surprise birthday celebration for me in class, so I came to the class and they were like all shouting, and it was very touching. Yeah.
Aww. What hobbies do you enjoy?
I like to cook. I like, being outdoors, hiking, camping, all that stuff. I like to work out a little bit and then swim once in a while.
What's something you would like to put on your bucket list?
I would like to go on an Arctic adventure sometimes.
Arctic adventure?
Yeah, but the fact that I moved to Boston now.
I was gonna say, you are on an Arctic adventure.
Yeah, I mean the weather today is crazy. It's like minus 12 Celsius, like crazy. And then I checked the temperature in Antarctica and it was minus 21. So it's really close.
Wow.
That's
comparable.
Too much for me.
Okay, and the last fun question is, what course did you enjoy the most in school?
I think that would be structural reliability and risk analysis. Yeah.
So thank you for answering our fun questions. Now we would like to get to know more about your academic career. So what made you interested in earthquake engineering?
I mean, I like a lot of different subjects, I would say. So I was always interested in, mechanics, like physics and mechanics of physical systems, probability and statistics, and, also computer programming. I enjoy all these different subjects. And earthquake engineering, it seemed to be a perfect, combination of all these things I like. So, so that's why I started pursuing it. But that's more of a general answer. If I were to give you more of a a more philosophical answer, that would be I grew up in the northeastern part of India, where it's very beautiful over there, and but then it's always affected by earthquakes and floods and all sorts of natural hazards, right? So growing up in a place like that, I always felt the importance of engineering, not to withstand the natural hazards, but to kind of coexist with the natural hazards,
So what are your research objectives?
Yeah, I'm still figuring that out, But then I would say making the built environment and the natural environment go hand in hand is always going to be the overarching philosophy in whatever research I do. I mean, I already mentioned we cannot really build structures to withstand the natural hazards. But we can build, to work in conjunction in harmony with the natural hazards. And whatever comes in the way, that means making better predictions of structural response, making probabilistic predictions of damage, losses, so that we can efficiently manage the risk. I also like, computer programming techniques to package things up for practical use. Practicability is also one of the important things I would incorporate in my research, is that, I would like my research to be more and more used in practice.
That leads to our next question, that is, how you decided between the industry and the academia, especially after getting the PhD?
I will say I have not decided yet.
If not,
maybe my manager will not be very happy if she gets to know this answer. But I was a student for a significant portion of my life, and then I felt the need for a little bit of industry experience, because it opens your eyes. In the academic setting, we are more used to dig deeper and explore more with no limits. You can just keep going, right? But then once it's important to step back and look at how practicable your work is. Even if I come back to academia at some point of time, this industry experience that I'm gaining, I will make good use of it. I can make a more industry-oriented courses. I can do more practical research.
Our next question is, what are some important aspects of catastrophe risk modeling?
I think the most important aspect is that you have to learn how to sail on two boats. So I'll explain what I mean by that. So the idea behind catastrophe modeling is to predict the economic impact of natural hazards, right? So we want to make use of the historical information to predict and manage risks better. But the thing is, historical events are so rare that the data that we have is not enough to predict more reliably, more accurately. So then we have to make use of scientific modeling, physics-based modeling, and then inform that modeling with the data that we have to make better predictions. So what I meant by sailing on two boats is that you really need to have a good, solid background of both physics-based modeling and data-driven modeling. And then you have to combine the two in the right proportion.
And what are some of the activities that have been the most challenging during your research?
The most challenging thing that I hopefully overcame is talking about your research to people, to both informed and uninformed audience. So not only in general conversation, right, but also in technical presentations, right? So even if it's a technical presentation, think about it. It's just like a 20 to 40 minute rundown of years of work that you have done. So you really need to learn to speak at the right level so that you don't lose your audience. If you put too much math, too much equations, the uninformed audience might lose you. They might start looking at their phones, right? So you also should not dumb down your research too much, so that the informed audience feels like, oh, this is he's making it too simple, right? So speaking at that right level about your research to an audience, learning that skill was challenging for me, and I think, I'm still learning. I'm still learning that. Yeah.
Do you have some words of encouragement or advice to other students now that you're out of that situation?
I don't know if I am eligible enough, but I'll say a few things. The actual research that you're doing, that's obviously important, right? And everyone will get through that. What I would like to bring out is there are some soft skills that you need to develop as part of your research or grad school journey. When you get too much involved in the details of your work, always take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Where is this going, right? What I'm doing right now, is it applicable to my final objective, right? So because sometimes otherwise you might get too lost in the details, right? Be always aware of your own assumptions, of the assumptions of your work, and more importantly, the limitations of your work. That's what people outside really value, that if you're aware of the limitations of your work, that shows a level of maturity, right? So that you have done all this work, but then these are the limitations and these are the assumptions I made. Being critical of your work, this is also very important, right? And I would say just be patient, So that's one virtue that will make you sail through grad school.
Finally, can you tell us about any achievement or project you are particularly special or proud of?
Towards the later half of my PhD, I was working on this project with peer, exploring the effects of different sources of uncertainty on the performance of bridges. But the thing that I'm actually proud of is it's a Python package that I built just to make my life easier to solve that problem. It started out small, but then one thing led to another, and it kind of grew, and then I created this own side project on my own. I have mentioned this package that I've developed in 1 or 2 papers that I wrote, but then right now I think that I can actually and make it an open source tool. It's like a software framework. It carries out the different steps of the performance-based earthquake engineering methodology, like the hazard analysis, demand and damage hazard analysis.
Angshuman, thank you so much for joining us today. We had a wonderful time learning more about you and your work. And before we go, if our viewers or listeners have any questions, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can always reach out to me on my email, which is my first name, Angshuman, and then 311 at gmail.com. You can also reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'll try my best to reply, but if I don't reply, don't feel that I'm ignoring you. Eventually I'll get back. Yeah.
Well, this concludes our monthly spotlight for the Meet the Peers student series. See you in the next one.